With Arsenal once again looking almost competent as a football club and challenging for that all-important 4th spot, we've decided to take a trip down memory lane and revisit Mikel Arteta's first ever starting lineup as manager. It was Boxing Day 2019 and the Gunners visited Bournemouth. Let's see how they lined up. Goalkeeper, Bernd Leno. The undisputed number 1 at the Emirates when Arteta took the reins was Bernd Leno. The German international was signed for £22.5 million from Bayer Leverkusen in 2018 and had started every Premier League game for Arsenal since that September, not missing a league match until injury curtailed his 1920 campaign with 8 games remaining. The 30-year-old would even be named as runner-up in Arsenal's Player of the Season awards. With an unproven Emi Martinez in reserve, Arteta was reluctant to make any changes between the sticks and would persevere with Leno into the following campaign. That would all change entering the current season as Arteta splashed the cash to bring in Aaron Ramsdale to North London, coincidentally the starting goalkeeper for Bournemouth on the Spaniard's debut in the dugout. And it wouldn't take long for Leno to lose his spot to the Englishman after conceding 9 goals in Arsenal's first 3 games of the season. Now the backup, it appears the Gunners are trying to shift Leno, which some might say is a little bit harsh considering his contribution to the club under Arteta with 25 clean sheets in 71 appearances. But let's face it, it doesn't look like he's getting back in the lineup anytime soon. Defender, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. With Hector Bellerin ruled out on the day, the role fell to Ainsley Maitland-Niles, a central midfielder by trade, but he had made his name as a utility player. That was no different under Mikel Arteta, with the English youngster seeing his time split across both flanks in both defence and midfield, as well as natural position in the centre of the park. However, the 24-year-old has never been assured a starting role in the 8 years since making his debut for the club. Not part of Arteta's plans, he spent the second half of the 2021 season on loan with West Brom, in a Sam Allardyce side always doomed to relegation. Then in the subsequent summer, Maitland-Niles was of course linked with a switch to Everton, but the player instead blasted his club on social media when the potential move to Goodison Park fell through. The subsequent falling out with the management limited him to just 2 Premier League starts in 21-22 before he secured a loan move to Jose Mourinho's Roma in January. But even there, he hasn't appeared in a Serie A match since February. If Arteta can't shift him next window, it's unlikely his deal will be extended before it expires next season. Defender, Sokratis. Defensive solidity at Arsenal was a major concern when Arteta took over, with the club having conceded at least twice in 10 of the 18 Premier League games before his arrival. Whilst changes were to come, there wasn't much to prevent him selecting Sokratis as a starter, a favourite of Unai Emery's during his reign at the Emirates. Remarkably, this would be just one of 4 league matches the Greek international would appear in for Arteta, despite remaining an Arsenal player until January 2021. His last start came against West Ham in March 2020, and his final appearance would be the FA Cup final against Chelsea that season, coming on in injury time as the Gunners won 2-1 to claim its only winners' medal in England. The former Borussia Dortmund man wasn't registered for the squad in the following campaign, eventually seeing his contract cancelled during the winter window, where he returned to Greece for the first time since 2008, signing for Olympiacos, where he remains to this day. Sokratis actually went off with a concussion during the Bournemouth game, being replaced by Shkodran Mustafi in the last 15 minutes, but the less said about him, the better. Defender, David Luiz. With both Callum Chambers and Rob Holding unavailable for selection, Arteta's hands were pretty much tied in selecting David Luiz as Sokratis' partner in defence. The former Chelsea man moved across London the summer prior for just £8 million and had plenty of ups and downs in his 2 years at the Emirates. The Brazilian was one of the first names on the team sheet under Arteta, making 55 appearances for the Spaniard, becoming a big positive dressing room presence of which the youngsters looked up to, as well as a mammoth performance in the FA Cup final against his former side. However, it wasn't all rosy for the defender, with 3 red cards and 5 penalties conceded in 1920, both league highs and the latter being an all-time record. His time at the club would also be remembered for a head collision with Raul Jimenez in November 2020, which some see as the catalyst for the newly introduced concussion substitutes in English football. The 34-year-old didn't see his Gunners contract extended at the end of the 2021 season, with the club having bought Gabriel from Lille and soon to sign Brighton's Benjamin White, as Arteta continued the transformation of his side. Despite wanting to remain a Premier League player, Luiz is now a Flamengo star, where his career has quietly winded down. Defender Bukayo Saka. There's no player more emblematic of Mikel Arteta's Arsenal tenure to date than Bukayo Saka. 1920 was the youngster's breakout campaign, appearing occasionally under Emery before becoming a bona fide starter under the Gunners' current manager. Most of his early game time though came at left back, with both Kieran Tierney and Sead Kolasinac struggling with injuries. But 2021 saw Saka truly explode. Only 18 years old, he was handed the number 7 shirt, pushed further forward and put up 17 goal contributions across all competitions, earning himself an England call-up and a place in the Three Lions Euro 2020 squad. He ended the season second to Aubameyang for shots with 1.9 and was third in the squad with 1.2 key passes per match, as well as adding 1.4 dribbles per 90 at the Emirates. Still only 20, Saka has racked up well over a century of Arsenal appearances, and after certain departures this summer, could start next season as one of Arsenal's more senior players. Nailing down the right wing position as his own ahead of a £72 million signing like Nicolas Pepe, Saka has the world at his feet and should remain at the forefront of English football well into the 2030s. DM Lucas Torreira. There was a lot of hype around Lucas Torreira when he arrived in English football. Described as a no-nonsense midfielder, the Uruguayan joined from Sampdoria in 2018 and was an important part of Unai Emery's only full season at Arsenal. He was then used less regularly before the appointment of Arteta saw him once again become an important player at the Emirates. That was until he sustained an ankle injury, and whilst the pandemic meant he could return to action that season, it appears his new manager was ready to move on, preferring Granit Xhaka and Dani Ceballos as they chased European football. Ultimately, he wasn't in Arteta's plans for the 2021 season, and Torreira joined Atletico Madrid on loan. But despite a La Liga winners' medal, Atleti didn't want to keep him. And towards the end of the last campaign, he even stated that he wanted to leave Arsenal permanently, as he pined for a move to Boca Juniors. That wasn't forthcoming though, but Torreira, now 26, is impressing at Fiorentina, with La Viola reportedly interested in making the move permanent. It wasn't to be at Arsenal, but it seems Torreira is finally enjoying his football again. DM Granit Xhaka. Arteta took control of Arsenal in December 2019, barely 2 months after an incident that many thought would see the end of Granit Xhaka's time with the club. As captain, he was booed off the pitch as he was substituted, removing his jersey and gesticulating to the fans. But despite the expectation that the Swiss international would be gone that January, he's back in the side under Mikel Arteta. The 29-year-old has featured 92 times under Arteta, with 86 of those starts, second only to Saka during his time in the dugout. Arsenal fans might wish it wasn't so high, and they almost got that wish last summer. It appears Xhaka's 5-year spell at the Emirates was going to come to an end as Roma were linked with a move for the midfielder, but Arsenal were reluctant to sell. Xhaka was awarded a new 3-year deal in August, marrying him to the club until at least 2024. This relationship isn't over yet, even if Jose Mourinho's side do come calling once again this summer. Attacking mid, Reiss Nelson. Part of Arteta's remit upon taking the Arsenal job was to develop their promising youngsters, of which Reiss Nelson was one. But 2 years on, and Nelson is perhaps the forgotten man of this fixture. Coming off a strong 18-19 with Hoffenheim, it seemed that the winger had finally made a breakthrough into the senior side. But 22 appearances across all competitions was as good as it got, as the next season the now 22-year-old appeared just 9 times, and this campaign he's been sent on loan to Feyenoord, where it could be going better, starting just 7 times and scoring only once. Nelson has 1 year left remaining on his deal at the Emirates and is older than Saka, Smith Rowe and Martinelli, meaning his future likely lies elsewhere if he wants regular football. In the 1-1 draw with Bournemouth, Nelson was replaced by Nicolas Pepe. The club record signing in 2019, Pepe was expected to be an instant hit, but is now just a rotation option. In fact, only Eddie Nketiah has more substitute appearances under Arteta, so don't be surprised if Arsenal cut their losses on the Ivorian this summer as well. Attacking mid, Mesut Ozil. The appointment of Mikel Arteta very much spelled the end of Mesut Ozil at Arsenal. The season prior saw the former Germany international's performances take a nosedive and continued to be lacklustre in the 1920 campaign. He played just 12 matches under Arteta, subbed off in 9 of them with 1 goal and 1 assist as injury curtailed his season. Come 2021, and the World Cup winner wasn't even included in the Premier League or Europa League squads, meaning he went 11 months without making a competitive appearance, by which point the Gunners had cancelled his contract and he moved to Fenerbahce. Despite a decent start there with 10 goal involvements in an otherwise underwhelming season for the club, Ozil fell out with the management and is currently excluded from that squad too. This match saw Ozil replaced by Joe Willock, another promising youngster, but saw his Arsenal career trend in the same direction as Reiss Nelson. After a breakthrough campaign in 1920, a lack of game time for the 22-year-old in the subsequent campaign saw him join Newcastle on loan, where a surprise goal-scoring streak saw the Magpies splash £25 million to make the move permanent, where he remains something of a starter. Forward, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. For all of their flaws, one thing was certain about Arsenal in 1920. In Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, they had a world-class striker. The Gabon international was the first goalscorer in the Arteta era. His strike, one of 38 under the Spaniard, secured a draw. But despite having such a game changer in their side, his time at the club would come to a very abrupt end. Named as captain in the wake of the Xhaka fallout, Aubameyang would net a brace in both the FA Cup semi against Manchester City and the final against Chelsea, as Arteta won his first trophy with the club. He signed a new 3-year deal in September 2020, but by March his time at Arsenal was approaching a breaking point. Aubameyang missed the North London derby due to disciplinary issues and finished 2021 with just 15 goals, his lowest total for a decade. The following season these problems continued as he was dropped from the squad in early December, missing 6 matches, being stripped of the captaincy, and come February he'd moved on a free to Barcelona. The right decision for all parties for sure, but it's definitely left a sour taste in the mouth of some fans. Forward, Alexandre Lacazette. With Aubameyang gone, there's now no one at Arsenal who has more goal contributions under Arteta than Lacazette. He was 29 goals and 17 assists in 98 appearances since Boxing Day 2019. His contract has been allowed to run down to the point where it expires this summer, but has he done enough to earn an extension? No player has been subbed off more under Arteta, playing a full 90 minutes on less than a third of his 70 starts. But he did finish as top scorer in 2021, albeit with just 13 in the league and 17 across all competitions. Although he has been credited with good link play with 7 assists to his name this season, the 30-year-old has just 4 goals. He's been handed the captain's armband, hinting at his importance to the side, or maybe it's more hinting at the lack of better options in the dressing room. Lacazette has said just this week that he's in talks with a number of different sides and wants to continue playing in Europe. So quite what happens to him next season, we'll find out soon. So that was Mikel Arteta's first Arsenal 11 and where they're playing their football right now. But will Arteta get this Arsenal team into the top 4? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit subscribe. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.